We'll focus on the supply chain, financing, and advanced solution go with interesting panel discussion and really informative keynote speech. Thirdly, I'd like to briefly introduce our one-on-one meeting platform. This exclusive one-on-one meeting platform facilitates building business connections and partnership by our online chat box. And our user-friendly matchmaking service is incredibly simple to use as well. Please kindly note that we will keep this platform open until the last day of this event. So please take your time and explore more partnership in this one-on-one meeting platform. Last but not least, the Q&A box is open for all attendees during the whole afternoon session. So as you can find, there is a Q&A box on your meeting control panel, and we will select one or two questions to our speakers to answer after their presentation if time's allowed. Now, without further ado, let's continue our renewable tour to Malaysia, where more renewable energy is seen as an irresistible trend in this country. Firstly, I would like to introduce Dr. Winnie Chen from Hibiscus Petroleum Berhad. He's a vice president of New Energy Venture, and today, Dr. Chen will give a speech on the outlook of the solar PV opportunities in Malaysia. Hi, Dr. Chen. Please start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, MC. I would like to now share my screen first. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep, okay. We're able to see your screen.
Great, thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizer for giving me this opportunity to speak in your platform. And I think at these pandemic times, I'm really glad to see some of the participants whom I've actually not met face to face for quite some time, but I'm glad to see them in the room. And in particular, I would like to make a special mention that this particular presentation is dedicated to a very special student from the Swinburne University in Melbourne. And his mom told me that he's very passionate about renewables, and his name is Colonel Sabapati. So I'd like to dedicate this presentation to him, and hopefully someday we can swap seats and I can listen to his presentation. And of course, I'd like to make special call out to a few of my colleagues who are in this room together and listening. And they are Lily, Charlene, and Joyce. And also a special hello to Davis and Neo from SolarVest. I'll be looking forward to Davis' presentation next. Yeah, before I move on, I'd like to very quickly just mention about my background. Actually, I've just joined Hibiscus just slightly over 2 months ago. I've spent more than 15 years of my lifetime actually serving the Ministry of Energy of Malaysia within the renewable energy space. So just before joining Hibiscus, I was with SEDA, Sustainable Energy Development Authority. And today I am with Hibiscus, and Hibiscus is a publicly listed company in the Bursa, Malaysia. And we have operating assets in the North Sea in UK as well as in Malaysia. And of course, my role here is to see how I can decarbonize the oil and gas sector and making the business in the long run more relevant and investable and sustainable. Yeah. So I think for most of my presentations, even though we are talking about business opportunities for solar, in whatever presentations I'm in, I always like to start off by revisiting why we are into the renewable energy. And I think this is an important story. I've spent more than 15 years living in New Zealand in the 80s and the 90s. And I have to say that we have glaciers in New Zealand, but unfortunately the glaciers are dying. In fact, most part of the world, the glaciers are dying. And in 2017, I made an effort to visit the Perito Moreno Glacier, which is in the Patagonia region in South America. And it is really one of the few glaciers that are alive today. And that particular trip made me realize that as far as the climate change is concerned, we are running out of time. Yeah? So in this particular slides, you can see that with regards to the carbon budget, which is how much we are able to emit until such time as we hit critical temperature increase of either 1.5 degrees or 2 degrees Celsius. The key story is that with the known initiatives that we have, the known technologies that we have, we are not going to make it. An IPCC report that was released back in 2018 shows that during that time, 2018, we only have 11 and a half years to bridge that gap to reach the 1.5 degrees Celsius. And 2 months ago, DNV released their report on the energy transition outlook. And you can see in the chart here on the left-hand side, it just shows that by 2028, we would have exhausted our 1.5 degrees Celsius carbon budget. And by 2051, we would have run out of our 2 degrees Celsius carbon budget. And what would be the most likely scenario is that we will hit 2.3 degrees temperature increase by the end of the century. And that is a very dangerous temperature increase according to the scientists, yeah? And I know that for most of us, this part of the year, all we can remember is the COVID-19. And it has been a tough year. Most businesses, global economies are very much affected. For one, the oil and gas sector is very much affected by it. But if we think that this COVID-19 is it is quite a terrible pandemic, the climate change represents a far greater pandemic than the COVID-19. So therefore, in this regards, energy transition is inevitable, yeah? And most of you may have heard about the net zero commitment by now. You know, as of early November, we have 126 countries pledging to reach net zero by 2050. Right, now move on to our solar story. And I would like to start off with the good news. So I always call this graph, this chart, the good news slide here. And it's taken out of the renewable energy transition roadmap, the roadmap that I was. And this roadmap was 90% to the completion stage when I left SEDA. And part of this study involved the resource assessment of the renewable energy potential in the country. So I think the good news here is that in Malaysia, we lie along the sun belt. So we have plentiful sun, yeah? As far as the total solar resource potential, we have in total is 269 gigawatts. And you can see the map on the right-hand side here that as far as ground mounted is concerned, Sabah has the highest potential at 97.2 gigawatts, followed by in Peninsular Malaysia. But for rooftop capacity, of course, in Peninsular Malaysia, we have a lot more buildings than Sabah and Sarawak. So it is not a surprise that rooftop capacity in terms of its availability, and we only took 40% of the rooftop availability, and that amounts to 37.4 gigawatts of rooftop potential. Then, of course, from the state where I am from, Sarawak, we have a lot of hydropower. So with a lot of hydropower, the reservoirs can accommodate 11.3 gigawatt of floating solar. And that is only taking into account 11% of the water surface that's available. Now, the chart on the bottom left-hand side shows the solar rooftop availability. So, of course, you can see here that Selangor ranks top in terms of the PV availability, and followed by Johor and Perak. And the solar irradiance map just above the rooftop shows where are the good spots for solar. And the best spots really are from Sabah and also the northern part of Peninsular Malaysia. So where I come from, Kuching, and that's the tail end of the state, unfortunately, the solar irradiance is really not the best, yeah. Now, next slide is an extremely busy slide, and I'm going to spend most part of my presentation here because this slide basically shows the current renewable energy potential in the country. Yeah. So I'd like to start off with the charts at the bottom left-hand side, whereby it shows the renewable energy mix in the country. Now, renewable energy mix as at the end of last year is about 23%, and that's including large hydro. And you can see that large hydro, it dominates the renewable energy space. But the story is going to change already, because for the last few years, we can see that the greatest growth is really coming from solar photovoltaic. And it's not surprising, because we do have a lot of sun in Malaysia here. And of course, among the other renewable energy, the risk with regards to solar is the least. So I'm going to go back to the center part of these slides, which basically shows the renewable energy programs for Malaysia. Some of them is present only in Peninsular Malaysia. Some of them covers Sabah, but most of them are not applicable in Sarawak, because Sarawak, they have their own electricity ordinances. Yeah? But it doesn't mean that they do not have their own programs. They are coming up with, especially some of the programs like solar, very, very soon. Now, renewables in Malaysia started off with the tariff program. Some of you may be very familiar, but for the purpose of some who may not be so familiar, basically SEDA pays a premium tariff for renewable resources, such as solar, biomass, biogas, and small hydro. And the program started in December 2011. But because solar has dropped so much in its pricing, by 2017, PV exit out of the FIT program. And out of that, we've spawned 3 new programs, which is the large-scale solar that is implemented by the Energy Commission, and it's based on reverse auctioning. Then we have 2 rooftop programs, which is net energy metering and self-consumption. So this morning, someone asked me, what is the difference between net energy metering and self-consumption? So I said to that person, please come into this webinar today and I will explain it, yeah? So the difference between net energy metering and self-consumption is that under the net energy metering, if at any time of the day when the sun is shining and you have excess solar electricity, you can export that solar electricity to TMB on a one-on-one basis. And then during the night time, if you need electricity, the electricity comes back to you, yeah? So then that means that you're not wasting your excess solar electricity. Very good, especially if your daytime demand is not going to be as great, or if you have your office shuts down over the weekend and if you have excess electricity, you are not wasting it. Now, self-consumption is different, as in you are not allowed to export your excess solar electricity, yeah? So normally self-consumption would be very suitable for any operations that run consistently for 7 days in a week, whereby you do not have to export or worry that you have to have any surplus electricity, yeah? And with self-consumption, the good thing is that there is no quota allocation for it. So you just have to apply to the Energy Commission for the self-consumption. And it is applicable in both Peninsular Malaysia and Sabah. But for net energy, Energy Commission recently, with just Energy Commission has just released their LSS4, the LSS Mentari. And typically on a year-on-year basis, we have 500 megawatt that is released. But for the purpose of COVID-19 for this year, the government has made the initiative to increase the quota from 500 megawatt to 1,000 megawatt to spawn off the economic activities. And I think this, the LSS, it has taken into a price frenzy war, and the latest bid submission shows that the lowest price that was bidded for it was only 13.99 cents per kilowatt hour. Yeah? So it has gone to be tremendously competitive. Now, on the extreme right-hand side of the graph, you can see is, on this chart here, you can see is the NEDA. So the NEDA is the newest kid on the block that is coming into this renewable energy foray. And the NEDA stands for the New Enhanced Dispatch Arrangement. Yeah. So the NEDA is managed by the single buyer that is part of TMB. Although the NEDA has been around since I think 2016, but recently the NEDA has gained some attention of the solar developers because the viability of entering into the NEDA is becoming more attractive. Now, the NEDA is actually a precursor to almost like a wholesale electricity market. And later on, I think Mr. Davis from SolarBest will give a little bit more explanation on that. But I think importantly for PV, especially for the rooftop, there are two ways that you can procure it, as you can see from the bottom of the slides here, the second half of the slides. You can either pay through outright purchase, or you can go through leasing or PPA arrangements. Yeah? And PPA arrangement means that you don't own the assets, but you pay for the energy that is produced from the solar systems that is on the rooftop. And this particular PPA arrangement are typically quite attractive for MNCs when they do not wish to own solar assets. Then, of course, the other exciting news is last month, the Minister of Singapore at ACEW conference announced about the 100 megawatt electricity import that is allowed by Singapore. And I think that Singapore side will be calling, the EMA will be calling for an RFP in March of next year. And they are looking to offtake the electricity by end of next year. So what basically it means is that there is an opportunity to export renewable electricity, but of course we'll have to wait for their guidelines to be released first. Now I'd like to move on. The next slide is to show the supporting ecosystem for solar opportunities. So what we can see here is that the first part of it is that last year, Budget 2020 actually announced for extension of the Green Investment Tax Allowance and also the income tax exemption, which is extended for renewable energy and of course very applicable for solar until 2023. And also on the 6th of November, earlier this month, we heard the Budget 2021 announcement that there is the extension of the GDFS 3.0, in which the government plans to allocate 2 billion for their guarantee scheme. But of course, this is subjected to today's budget vote, which I think should be happening sometime this afternoon as we are talking. And lastly, in SEDA's website, if you're always wondering where can I go to look for the installers or who are the PV investors who can provide leasing or these solar services, then you can always check out SEDA's website. On SEDA's website today, they have 150 plus installers. And as far as PV investors are going, they have almost equivalent 140 investors that are on board. Now, I've talked about current opportunities. I'd like to move on now to the future opportunities. And I think this is very exciting because with energy transitioning happening in place, we need to have new market instruments to move us. And so the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Renewable Energy Certificate. Now the RECs, or sometimes we call it the RECs. Now the RECs basically refers to an environmental attribute of a renewable energy that we can monetize. So renewable energy, you have two components that you can monetize. One is the electricity part of it, and the other is the environmental attribute. So in an instance whereby if you do have a solar farm that you are actually only interested in consuming the electricity part of it, and you're not particularly worried about claiming that you are consuming renewable energy, then you can monetize the attributes by selling RECs to corporate buyers who may want to buy it because of some of these companies, they ascribe to the RE100. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with the RE100, but RE100 are companies that pledge that at some point in the future, and it's typically well before 2050, 100% of their renewable energy consumption will come from renewable energy. So the RECs is a very popular instrument for these REC companies, because there's only so much solar that you can put on your rooftop, and you can never achieve 100% renewable energy consumption from the rooftop. So those are residual gaps. Typically, the companies will purchase RECs from the market. Yeah. So in Malaysia, RECs are very nascent in the market, but in Singapore, it is already getting a lot of tractions because they have a lot more MNCs on board that would oblige them to achieve the RE100 status. So yep, hopefully there is an opportunity for us to have another platform to discuss about the RECs. Now, the other part of the conversation about the electricity market is, of course, the opening of the electricity market. Yeah. And I think once Malaysia opened the electricity market in terms of access to the grid as well as the retail, then it opens up a whole avenue of how you can sell renewable electricity. Yeah. So let me give you some couple of examples. If the electricity market is open with regards to access to the grid, you can do not just net energy metering, but virtual net energy metering. So in a net energy metering, you need to have solar on your rooftop in situ. But in a virtual net energy metering, you can go to your neighbor's place and say that you are not going to utilize your rooftop. I will put my PV on your rooftop, and this PV electricity will offset my consumption. So yeah, so it is typically on a one-on-one arrangement basis. But more excitingly is the P2P energy trading, which in my time of SEDA, we have actually mooted out an 8-month trial of it. Yesterday, my ex-colleague Hasril was talking about the P2P energy trading in this same platform at the same time. And the P2P energy trading allows a many-to-many sale of solar electricity. So a prosumer means someone who produce and consume electricity. The prosumer can actually sell his or her solar electricity to many consumers, and in the same manner, the same consumer can buy solar electricity from many prosumers. So the peer-to-peer actually provides a many-to-many transactions. And of course, once the grid is open, once you have a wholesale electricity market in place, then we need to introduce another form of innovative financing. Yeah. Because currently what the banks, they are very familiar with is that they actually find that if you have a PPA, a power purchase agreement, then the entire project is very bankable. But the issue with the opening of a wholesale market, even the NEDA market, is that unless you have a strong balance sheet, otherwise it will be really very challenging for you to find bankability. So we have this, it's very new in Malaysia, exceptionally new, but in other parts of the world, they have this contract for difference that is taking place already. And basically the contract for difference is a financial contract that basically the developer and the off-taker, it could be a government or hedge provider or from the corporate sector, they agree on a certain strike price. And then if the spot price goes above the strike price, then the developer compensates the off-taker. But if the strike price is actually above the spot price, then the off-taker will have to compensate the developer. So in a nutshell, the developer gets a stable price in a very fluctuating electricity market, as in the merchant market, and then his project will be much more bankable. So the hedge provider, sometimes the insurance company, they provide this, what they call the proxy revenue swap. That is where the insurance company will actually, in exchange for a fluctuating income from the spot market, provides a steady stream of income to the solar developer. Now, in another scenario whereby the off-taker is a corporate buyer who wants to procure RECs, they can enter into a synthetic or a virtual PPA arrangement with the solar developer. So in this case, as you can see from the graphics below, basically the off-taker, actually the corporate buyer, they will get in exchange from the virtual PPA, the RECs, yeah, based on the difference in price and the strike price. So if the strike price is actually above the spot price, then the solar developer is compensated the difference for the RECs. But if the spot price goes above the RECs, then the corporate buyer gets the RECs for free. Now, all these are the concept of it is very simple, but it is actually very contractually. I was told that it is quite complex to draft, and lawyers love this very much. Yeah, right. So I've come to almost the end of my slide, and I'd like to conclude my slide back again to this whole climate agenda. And this particular slide, I was actually part of the Global Future Council, which is part of the WEF. At the end of last year, they've actually asked us to contribute our ideas. What if we get things right? What are our visions for 2030? And I gave them my views that I believe that by 2030, clean energy will dominate the energy sector, yeah? And we shouldn't just have to rely
some technical issue from our side. So, but actually, I've seen some really interesting question in the Q&A box that I want to ask you. So I would like to pick some of the question that I feel like is a perfect fit for you. So some of our audience want to ask you, like, do you have any heads up on this super much like anticipate NEM 3?
Right. So this is a very big conversation on the NEM3, and I know that there's a lot of anxious PV industry, and I'm very anxious about that as well. So as far as I know, even while I was back in SEDA, and we have actually, sorry, I should say they have, SEDA has submitted a request to the Ministry of Energy and Natural Resources to have the NEM scheme extended another 500 megawatt. But of course, we will have to wait for KEXA's announcement to see whether the ministry will extend to another batch of the 500 megawatts.
All right, Dr. Viet, thank you so much for your answer. And there's another question from one of our audience. So he want to ask you, like, are there any plans for the new night metering scheme for the rooftop PV after December 2020? And if not, do is a slowdown in installation activity to be expected?
Yeah, I think I've just also addressed that question. And I think at the moment, we're still waiting for the ministry to announce whether there is going to be an extension to the net energy metering scheme. But I think we should not be, even at the point whereby we do not have the net energy metering scheme announced yet, we must remember that we still do have the cell core. Yeah? So the cell core is one alternative to the net energy metering while we are awaiting for the net energy metering, just as the NEDA serves as an alternative to the large-scale solar. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Dr. Chan, and thanks again for your participation in this Async Energy Week. Looking forward to meet you in person next, probably sometime next year in Philippines.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So in the next part, we want to talk about the development of large-scale solar, because the large-scale solar has always been one of the most discussed topics in ASEAN region for years. And therefore, we are so honored to have Mr. Davis Chong in the next keynote speech, Outlook on the large-scale solar project in Malaysia. And Mr. Davis is currently the Chief Executive Manager of the leading Turkey solar PV solution provider, SOCAST. Hi, Davis. Please start your presentation right now. Hi, Davis.
Hi, Honam. Thanks. Thank you for Dr. Wayne also. Very informative presentations. We got a lot of new information as well. Let me share my screen. Hold on. I think I need to get permission to share the screen.
So, are you available to share your screen right now, or are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, it say I cannot share my screen.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, it works now. Okay. Okay. We got it.
Hi, Mr. Davis. It seems like it's not in the presenter mode. So please adjust it.
I think
the setting is on the display settings.
Wait.
You have to change the mode.
Okay, I think I got it. Okay, got it.
Yep, it's in full display right now. Please go on.
Okay. Okay, thanks. I can start now. Hi, Honam.
Hi, of course.
Okay, thanks. Thanks everyone, and thanks for attending this. I'm Davis Chong. I'm the CEO of SolarWest Holdings. Today, I'm gonna bring you through a little bit of the outlook of large-scale solar projects in Malaysia. SolarWest has been the EPCC, one of the most active EPCC in Malaysia since the FIT time, and then we do the industrial projects for NEM as well, and then we are actually doing quite some numbers of LSS projects since the launching of the LSS1 program and until the LSS Mentari right now. So I'm going to bring you through a little bit of the LSS history in Malaysia throughout the whole sessions. Okay, so let me run through, have a glance through of the agenda that I'm going to bring you through. First, we're going to review the RE target in Malaysia, like Dr. Wendy has shared a little bit about it, and then I'm going to share a little bit as well. And the second one, we'll jump into LSS PV program. We'll talk more about how LSS PV program being executed in Malaysia. And we're going to go through a little bit also that Dr. Wendy mentioned about NEDA for single buyer, that on how this NEDA program works. And then we're going to share a little bit of key challenges, when you are developing or even executing solar projects in Malaysia. And the last one, I will show all the project that we have done in Malaysia so far, which you have seen in maybe sometime that you pass by from the roadside and you see some solar farm in Malaysia already right now. Okay, I'm not going to details, but to the target that based on the statistic that we're supposed to build 6.3 gigawatt of capacity of RE capacity to meet the 20% national RE target. So based on that, we still need to build 3.49 gigawatt of capacity since the LSS3 program. And as far as we know, we have 300 megawatt NEM, and also we have 1,000 megawatt LSS Mentari that in a queue. So we are approximately still having about 2,000 megawatt of capacity that to be awarded in the next 5 years. So there'll be a lot of opportunity for large-scale solar farm and also rooftop as well to be taken in next 5 years. And based on not official statistic from the past LSS program, I think about 730 megawatt already being commissioned and running to sell electricity back to TNB. And I think there are still more to be commissioned in this year as well, with 500 megawatt LSS3 going to be executed. And we do expect that LSS Mentari bid going to be announced soon. Okay, so we'll jump into LSS program. Based on the latest LSS program that everybody that waiting for the result gain a lot of tractions is the LSS Mentari program. It consists of 1,000 megawatt of solar quota, and also it is open to fully owned local company to bid it. and expected timeline will be end of this year. So based on the information right now, we do expect that it should be announced in next month. And also the plant COD date expected to be before end of 2023. Okay, let me bring you to about how this LSS history in Malaysia. So since 2017, the first 500 megawatt already been awarded, and about 400 the quota being given, and 450 megawatt being awarded, and so on to LSS2 and LSS3. Each time of the LSS program, we have 500 megawatt of quota. And based on the latest LSS Mentari that's going to be announced, we will have 1,000 megawatt. From the LSS2, we know that around the 500 megawatt, there are 41 bid winner. For LSS3, of course, we know there are 5 bid winner only based on the 100 megawatt capacity each. And for 1,000 megawatt that the quota, the bid that closed and going to be announced next month, we have about 138 of P1, P2 bidder. So we do expect that there will be some winners that be split in terms of P1 and P2 category. Okay, the next, I think we look at the LSS awarded tariff since the LSS1. As you can see, the orange color is the LSS1 for different capacity. The first capacity that we look at is there's a small scale utility, which is 1 to 5 megawatt. The tariff is range from 0.4265 cent to 0.4495 cent. I think that LSS1 is still being awarded at a very, very lucrative tariff. And you can see that even from 6 to 29 megawatt and 30 to 50 megawatt, it still range from around 40 cent. So then continue another LSS2, that the blue color legend that you can see, the small capacity still remain at 375 cent to 41 cent tariff. And then the biggest capacity for 30 to 50 megawatt is still range from 339 cents to 388 cents, which is still very attractive. And I think, like, just recall back the Dr. Amy comment as well, LSS3, we face a lot of competitions, and I think a lot of bigger capacity, bidder coming in and to bid at 100 megawatt capacity, and the tariff has been awarded has go down to 0.177 cent to 0.2379 cent. So which is a very challenging for the bidder and also the EPCC cost as well. And to the current that LSS Mentari that being announced, the list announced by Energy Commission recently, we can see the below 30 megawatt category that the bid price range from 17.86 cent to 26.1 cent. And also we can see that above 30 megawatt, which is 30 to 50 megawatt AC, it range from 13.99 cent to 23.88 cent. So which is about the same range as the LSS3 program, but in a lower capacity. Okay, let me bring you through a little bit, not into details of how we want to participate in the LSS program from end to end. So if you are interested to develop an LSS project as a bidder or as an EPCC, this is a whole process that we're going to go through. So first, you need to do a pre-qualification project development on the site evaluations. You're going to have the land and do feasibility studies. So we have the proposals, and we need to wait for the bid to open, and which Energy Commission will announce the RFP timeline and when is the tender submissions. So we will start to have the SPV to tender for the RFP. And inside the RFP, we need to do all the financial modeling and also tender submissions according to the RFP, including the PSS study that we need to prepare as well. And we can go and then complete all the bidding process, then we can submit for the bid, and wait for the results, just like how we are waiting for the LSS Mentari right now. And when it's being announced, the shortlisted bidder that win, then you are expecting the letter of award from Energy Commissions, and then you will be offered the PPA to sign with the PPA. Okay, so when we sign the PPA, after the sign the PPA, we are actually already done our financial closure. Then we can start the project execution. We have about 12 to 18 months to complete the whole project from the start of the constructions to testing and commissioning. So for testing and commissioning, if this is the distributions, then it's actually 1 month of that TNC that we need. If this is a transmission, then we have about 3 months to do the testing and commissioning. And then it's just going to be after commission, then it's just going to work with the operation maintenance by the EPCC. So this is how simple is to develop a project, LSS project in Malaysia. Okay, so we'll jump from LSS program to NEDA program by single buyer. NEDA is quite new, actually. Since last year, it gets some traction from renewable energy. Let me explain a little bit of NEDA equal program in overseas. That's probably the same spot market in Philippines, which is a merchant market. And there's also an open electricity market in Singapore. And Malaysia, we have NEDA program by single buyer. This is the equivalent program in overseas. Okay, to simple explain why there's NEDA program, and we want to move our energy market to energy liberalizations. So we give a free market, merchant market to make the energy prices more competitive. Basically, this platform provide opportunity to non-PPA, such as like even the cogen, small renewable plant, or franchise utility. We can participate to sell energy to the market. Okay, so inside the NEDA program, there are few categories. The first category is the PPA or SLA generator. So you can sell your excess energy from, this program is just open to LSS3 and LSS4 player. They can sell your excess energy to bid price to a single buyer platform with NEDA program. So other than PPA and SLA generator, that we have another category, which is a merchant generator, which is a non-PPA player, which we have ex-PPA SLA generator, which is like old power plant, and then we have large merchant generator, which the capacity is above 30 megawatt. Then you need to bid with a price quantity bid. Then we have price taker, which is below 30 megawatt, from 100 kilowatt to 30 megawatt without PPA. So currently, the more famous model will be the price taker below 30 megawatt. This is the model that a lot of people has been exploring right now, that we do not need to bid. We just need to submit the planned generation schedule to a single buyer, and then we can sell the energy as per SMP price. Okay, so just now we gone through LSS program, that how we're gonna the simple roadmap, and this is how simple is to start to involve in the NEDA projects. So first, of course, we need to have the site, and the prerequisite is the PSS program. Identify the substations, identify the land, and then to have the PSS report to support for the applications. So when we have that, then we can actually submit for registrations. And then single buyer will verify the registrations and notify ST, and then we'll start to work on the agreements. Once we sign the agreement with single buyer or NEDA agreement, then we can actually start the same engineering process as how we execute LSS program. That we can actually go to when we commission it, then in the process, we can apply the ST license as well. Same ST license process that we're going to go through. And after you got the ST license, you simply can sell the energy to single buyer through NEDA program already. So it is a much more simple and straightforward project model. Okay, and let's look at there's LSS program, there's a NEDA program. So in terms of economical financial feasibility, what kind of tariff that they offer? In the past, when we see LSS1, LSS2, the tariff for LSS is still very high. So which is it doesn't really make sense for utility scale player to actually involve in NEDA program. And then through this 2019 with LSS3 price, you can see that the tariff in LSS is getting lower and lower, and actually it comes to cross about the same with S&P price as well. So which is makes sense that we can actually run the utility project through NEDA program or LSS program. The financial return is about the same now. And this is also supported by a lot of cost improvement, LCOE improvement to go down to able to have a good IRR with a tariff around 0.2, which is with the current S&P price that we have on NEDA. Okay, so let's summarize it. What's the difference between LSS and NEDA? LSS program is a competitive bidding program with the RP guideline and implemented by energy commissions. And we have a PPA. So you are owner of the PPA to sign with TMB to buy the energy from you for 21 years. And it's through a BOO model. And it's also secure investment for 21 years. And Malaysia PPA, LSS PPA is one of the most bankable in the region. This is the banks welcome this kind of investment and willing to finance it as well. And a new enhanced dispatch arrangement, which is NEDA program, is not a bidding project. It's just based on the price taker. And the price taker model is below 30 megawatt. And single buyer as the third party developer, which to work with TMB and handle it with a NEDA policy. And based on this program, there is no fixed rate and no contract period. So it's kind of a merchant market. So the rate will fluctuate based high if over demand, low is oversupply. So this is how it works. And it's an easy entry and exit model, which financially, the bankability of this project still become one of the challenges for us to execute. So this is the main difference of NEDA versus LSS. Okay, I'll bring you through a little bit key challenges for solar project delivery in utility scale based on our experience throughout these few years. So the first thing that the challenges that we'll face, of course, in the project development, the term in the LSS program that we have to do financial close, the land conversions based on where is the site of the land is become the main challenges of when you develop and in the development stage of the project. Authority approval, interconnection, and all these are the key things that you need to pay attention. The second, when you come into constructions, the major equipment price change and also forex changes, because we still see that Malaysia currency is still one of the volatile one that we need to make sure that forecast the forex exchange as well. And new challenges for the EPCC as well is the project delivery if the pandemic issue happen. And the operation challenges is you need to design based on Malaysia LSS program, there is a curtailment due to your with your capacity that being approved. So you need to design your DC capacity, AC/DC capacity at the optimum way to maximize the IRR of the projects. So this will need to work out between the project developer and the EPCC. The fourth is the policy environment. As far as we are concerned now, and we have a little bit of political unstable. That we were afraid that the change of government or the change of policy, and this is also part of the key challenges that a lot of big investment to be measured. The last one is financial capability, and we used to have a lot of challenges and to work with the banks since LSS1, but towards the LSS3, LSS4, I think the ecosystem has been improved a lot. The financial model, when we start work with banks on the LSS1, a lot of banks, they don't even have a financial model to finance, to measure LSS projects. And now we are improving. We are working together with the banks, with the project developer, to put in a lot of local measure on the financial model. So when you work with a developer or with the APCC that been through all this LSS1 to LSS4, then the financial model accuracy will be more and more established according to the experience. Okay, the last one, I will show a bit of our portfolio, the projects that we have developed, then with different capacity as well. So for SolarVest, we have developed LSS project as an onshore contractor until we become a full turnkey contractor right now. So these are all the projects that we have developed. I'll give a bit of introductions. The first, one of the biggest one that we have built as an onshore contractor is a 65 megawatt ground mount solar system in Gurun, and this is using Trina Solar and GP Tech inverter, which is completed in year 2018. And we also completed a Gambang project, which is UITM projects at 61 megawatt. And this is another 50 megawatt AC project at 58.5 megawatt DC in Kuala Ketil. And we are the first one who completed the floating solar farm in Malaysia as an onshore contractor for LSS2 program, and we just completed it recently and commissioned last two months ago, and it's at 13 megawatt DC. And these are three full turnkey projects that we have delivered during LSS2. We are the first to commission this LSS2 projects at 12.5 megawatt in Perak, and another one is 13 megawatt, and another one is 12.9 megawatt in Kinta. And this is the first LSS1 project COD in Malaysia as well, when we are still new and handling our first LSS projects. So this is commissioned in December 2017. It was the first solar farm in Malaysia and the first for us as well. Okay, that's all for my presentations to bring you guys through about LSS program in Malaysia.
All right. Hi, Davis. I very much appreciate your impressive speech on the development of large-scale solar in Malaysia. And also during your presentation, I noticed most of our audience are really passionate on having interaction with you, and also they are so curious about some of this question. Because we are running out of time in your session, so I would like to pick one of this question for you, and you can answer that question after your presentation in the Q&A box. So I'm gonna do one question real quick. So one of our audience want to ask you, like, is there any granted offtake for the solar plants under the NEDA scheme? You can find a question in the Q&A box.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. So hold on, can you repeat the questions?
Okay, so the question is there any granted offtake for solar plants under NEDA scheme?
Guarantee offtake. There's no guarantee offtake based on the NEDA. It's a NEDA agreement. But for more information, of course, we need to visit single buyer website to know what are the term and condition inside the NEDA program and in the NEDA agreement itself.
Okay, all right. So, Davis, thank you so much for your really detailed answer. And I think this is pretty much all about your session. Thank you so much for your participation again.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. Thank you.
So next, let's move on to the final stop of the Myanmar session. As we all know, contracting issue has always been one of the primary consideration as CNS sector becoming the most powerful driver of the rooftop solar. And therefore, we're so delighted to invite two leading solar players, Solar Horizon and Plus Solar, to comprehensively talk about the contracting issues with proper consumer in a CNI solar project. And Solar Horizon CEO, Mr. Sam Goyu, and Plus Solar CEO, Tram Zhang Ko, will join the mini talk on behalf of their company. Hi, Mr. Goyu and Mr. Tram, please start your presentation.
Thank you so much, Holden. It's been such a great afternoon so far. Just wanted to say thanks to Davis and also Dr. Chen for sharing such in-depth information, both on the LSS as well as the new business models. So what we saw was quite a lot of the large-scale solar and regulatory-based solar adoption. What we're going to talk about today with my dear friend and colleague, Chuan Zhen, Mr. Ko, I think you can just call us by our first names, Chuan Zhen and Sam. You know, we have been playing in the Malaysian corporate, commercial and industrial market for many years. I will let Ko introduce his company, who's one of the oldest and most established CNI players in Malaysia. I will start with a short introduction on Solar Horizon, who we are, what we do, what is our relationship with Plus, and what we've been working on together for the last few years. It's going to be a short presentation, maybe 5 minutes from my side, maybe 7 minutes from Cole. And then we're going to have a fireside. Well, there's no fireside here. We're in the tropics, but we're going to have a conversation to look at 2 or 3 main contracting issues that not only have we faced, but also overcome, and particularly from the lens of the COVID impact that we've all felt this year. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. Is it up, Holman? Hold on, can you see it? Okay, so let me start. So we are Solar Horizon. We are a boutique solar energy developer, primarily focused on rooftop solar for the commercial and industrial space in Singapore and other key Southeast Asian markets. We set ourselves up in 2013, not too much after Ko and his team. We were also a group of entrepreneurs who came together to try to make a difference in what we feel is a very critical issue, which is the fight against climate change. And we thought we could play our part by supporting the built-up environment where a lot of us live and work to adopt more solar. We also felt that if we can offer a financing solution, what's nowadays called solar leasing, it could help industries, businesses to adopt solar. So that's what we did. We focused on solar leasing. That's all we do. And we manage the entire value chain from development, financing, implementation, management. We are lucky to have raised a significant amount of capital from large institutional investors to support the financing of these projects. And above all, we are most fortunate to have a wonderful ecosystem of partners whom we work very closely with. And Ko, who's a dear friend, and his team at Plus Solar are one of our very strong partners in a very key market, which is Malaysia. A little bit about our team. We are a small core nucleus of a management team that punch above our weight, kind of like Singapore, our home market, our home nation. I myself have been doing solar for more than 10 years, and so have my team members. So yeah, you can look us up online. A little bit about our operating portfolio. We were one of the pioneer developers in Singapore for rooftop solar. There's a couple of big guys in our market, and we are one of those little ones, the underdogs who are always, annoying the big guys and stealing deals here and there, but also contributing to the growth of our industry and doing some pretty serious projects with some of the largest government-linked companies in Singapore, including Singapore Telecoms, ST Engineering, which is the defense sector, as well as Keppel Fells, which is all of them are GLCs. This is just one of our latest projects. We delivered this in March of this year, just before the lockdowns. So as Davis was referring earlier, delivery in a pandemic has its challenges, and we'll talk about that later. This is one of our more cute projects. This was a theme park in Bali. It just goes to show that solar does not necessarily have to be in far-flung lands or heavy industrial areas, but can very much be adopted all across our built-up environment. Just a little bit about some of our clients, our partners, some of the projects. I won't spend too much time here. I'd like to use about 2 or 3 minutes to explain what is this solar leasing business model, right? It's basically where you have a rooftop owner, you have a developer. Generally, you have an investor who can either be the developer themselves or can be third party. And then you have the EPCC contractor who will build, manage, and maintain the system. So as a developer, we integrate this ecosystem. We work with the rooftop owner to enable him to enjoy solar without any upfront capex. Basically, he offers his rooftop and commits to purchase the power that a system generates from his rooftop on a pay-per-use basis. Against that commitment, we then raise money from the market. We work with our good goals contractor partners and development partners like Plus Solar, who then steps in to handle and manage the entire technical rollout and maintenance. So in essence, it's a third-party finance and operating model for solar PV systems, where the development, financing, execution, and management is handled by your local friendly neighborhood developers such as us. Okay, why solar leasing? Well, look, guys, it's even more important in a COVID world or post-COVID world. It's all about doing more with less. And a lot of us forget that certain assets that we have are actually assets and not liabilities, i.e. your rooftop. A lot of us are worried about rooftop leakage, are taking a lot of air conditioning to heat our facilities. It's a free fuel that's falling every day from the heavens onto those rooftops. And this is what solar leasing is about. It's how do you activate your unused asset, your rooftop space, to harness clean energy, save money, don't need to invest, pay only for what you use, thanks to the NEM frameworks that Dr. Chen mentioned, and the Malaysian government has been one of the pioneers that really helps the investment case. So in the right regulatory structure, and we'll talk about that as a key topic, rooftop solar leasing can really unlock a lot of value for both the adopter as well as the investor, and of course for our planet and our climate. So there are a lot of benefits. It makes a lot of sense, and it is a pretty well-established business model that I would say Malaysia is one of the top and leading countries in the region to embrace. Generally, how it works is that you call us, we come and take a look at your roof, we do a site survey, we look at your design and your plans, we build a solar system virtually, if you will, we calculate the yield, we do a commercial proposal, and all of that happens on a no obligation basis, and we do it pretty quick. So that's how we do it, guys. That brings me to the end of our presentation. And with that, I'd love to hand over the floor to, like I said, a very dear friend and colleague, Mr. Ko Chuan Zhen, founder and CEO of Plus Solar. Ko, I think you're on mute.
Hi, can you hear me, Sam?
Yes, perfect. You're online, Ko.
Great. So thanks a lot, Sam. Good day, everyone. So I'm Ko from Plus Solar, which I'm the CEO and also the co-founder from Plus Solar. So this session is quite a good session that are able to share with everyone for all the industry players, as well as with our very good friend, Sam from Solar Horizons. So as what Sam mentions, at the first, we will do a very quick some of introduction about what are we doing and some of the things in both companies. After that, we will straight to the point and talk about what is the contracting issue that most of our corporate customers they face in CNI project. It could be covering both this PPA, leasing, and also for this outright purchase model. All right, so just let me do a very quick introduction about Plus Solar. However, let's play some video. Yeah, to let the video to speak 1,000 words here. All right. So there's some of a quick introduction about Plus Solar through our video. And so this is those project that so far that we have already delivered in the country. And from here that actually we have more than 200 megawatts that we have already deployed in the whole country. And also for the commercial industrial building, actually we have more than 91 megawatts in the country. So as what we all can see here, actually the whole Malaysia, I would say is pretty all well covered with solar system, especially for the commercial industrial these sectors. Yeah, so far this is where we all have our this footprint in the whole country. All right, so just some this is just some of a qualification from Plus Solar that basically we are registered with SEDA, the ST, CIDB, yeah, and so on. All right. So in short, in Plus Solar, actually, we have delivered more than 170 our commercial industrial building in the country. And this also more than 35 different industry in the country as well, which cover like commercial buildings, this plastic, rubber, steel, building material, glasses, yeah, as long as the different industry that you name it. So I would say the C&I in Malaysia, actually, this market has started since 2012, 2013, when Malaysia just started the feed-in tariff program. So the commercial industrial buildings actually started to have a lot of different players, or let's say the building owners or the investors started to invest and also to deploy the solar system on their roof. So here are just some of a couple of those projects that I just have a quick share, like the solar project on the roof for the different clients, yeah, from different places. So this is just from one company called Aiden. And at the same time, some company like this company, they are UWC Berhad, which is a listed company. So I would say recently there's a lot of these corporate who have a SDG goal, which is a Sustainable Development Goal by United Nations, who committed on this. And this also one of the reasons which is drive them to go for solar. Yeah. So this is one of the cases that we share over here. And at the same time, actually, we also help a lot of different companies, especially the companies like IKEA. IKEA is a renewable energy 100, RE100 company, which I would say for most of the building for them throughout the world, actually they deploy with solar system. So in Malaysia, we have helped them to design and build a solar system for 3 of their shopping complex. And this is something which is something that they're quite keen and also quite aligned with what they want to do before they just look into ROI. Definitely ROI is quite important for them, but the sustainability goal is something which they committed from their corporate level. And this is also a part of customer that we are support in the past few years. So from local, from overseas listed company, from some of the local, this mid-tier company who also at the same time who also would like to enjoy for tax incentive. And this is where all the demand for the people who like to go for solar system installations. Yeah, and this is just one of a local company, which is quite a strong, this plastic company, which started in many years ago. It's more than 20 years. And actually they have already deployed for phase 1 for the solar system. And also recently they are going to start with phase 2 with Plus Solar together. Yeah. So just some of a quick note here is Plus Solar system. For us, besides we build for solar system for all of our CNI clients from different background for different purpose. At the same time, we also help them to deploy for the digital solution. And this is our energy performance management system. And this is a system that we are going to help them to do some of this asset management for them to really understand about how the building energy works, how the energy solar system performance work, especially for some of our clients who have multiple sites, for example, like IKEA in the country, which they are able to use this platform for them to easily to find out what is performance for their system and the energy performance in the different country. Yeah. And also the different places. Okay. So at the same time, actually, this is something that we work closely with Amazon Web Service, AWS. And in terms of security, everything is pretty good. And this for them to go further from the solar saving into the energy saving itself. So this is just some of part of the sharing, which I would like to share in terms of a whole solution that provided by Plus Solar. And I would say for the EPC, basically we are the EPC player. So what we are doing is actually we are providing the services for outright purchase model and also for the PPA model. And this is some of the process flow that usually we will do for most of building owner out there. And for the outright purchase is pretty straightforward, which is a EPC model. And this is all the flow. And for PPA, it will be about the same. And today we are going to talk about some of the contracting issue. So here, throughout this process, I would say something that we like highlight is always at the beginning parts. Yeah, what would be the external environment, or let's say the policy side, or let's say the business environment, it will impact on the contract parts between the investor and also the building owner, as well as the EPC contractor, as well as this operation and maintenance player. So throughout the whole process, I would say those are some of the impact that will impact the contract parts, especially on the commercial side throughout the whole life cycles. So I would say that is some of a quick introduction from my side. And yeah, I would like to pass the floor back to Sam. Yeah, we can start to begin with our discussion about those contracts issue that most of the players are facing in the corporate government, in the corporate client side.
Oh, thank you. That was just such a fantastic presentation. Not only, I mean, I'm just so proud to consider Plus Solar our partners for Malaysia, and to see the direction that you're going, which is embracing technology and integrating within the wider holistic energy efficiency space. Because I think we all had that vision when we started our businesses, that solar is just the start, right? And the built up environment and facilities have so much scope for optimization. So really, really good to see, bro. And in fact, that last slide you had was a perfect segue, right? To talk about some of the issues that not only have we seen, but we faced, and to share maybe a few secret sauce on how we cracked a couple of those. So let's start with one of the themes of this session this afternoon was regulatory, right? We heard from Dr. Chen, we heard from Solar Best about what are the regulatory impacts, the different market dynamics. Now, you know, like I say, I feel Malaysia has had one of the most successful rooftop solar policies in the region, right? Having the NEM net electricity metering on a one-to-one basis was a game changer. It eliminated the need for the consumer to consume all of the power on site, for example, on weekends, right? And therefore, the PPA model, as well as the outright purchase model, was able to grow. So I'd like to get your views, Ko, on, you know, how do you foresee, or first of all, what have we seen in terms of regulatory impact on contracts, both from a purchase perspective, a leasing perspective, and what do you foresee as some of the key regulatory areas to keep an eye on that will impact contracts for consumers in CNI?
Yeah, okay. I would say on the regulatory part, recently, I think for most of the solar players in the industry are also pretty shocked when we know about the one-to-one offset. It's actually just limited for 10 years. Yeah, actually, I would say this is something that bring a lot of these questions for all the different players. And for most of solar players here, actually, like with Plus Solar and SolarVest, and with Dr. Chen as well, together at SEDA, we will have a long discussion about this and how can we really manage this. Because for the investor point of view, actually, any regulatory change, actually this will impact on their financial modeling, especially with the contract, the PPA contract, which they sign with the building owners. And this is always lasts for 15 to 20 years. And usually with such a competitive market that everyone know, actually the margin for the return on investment for most of the investor is not really fat as in the past few years. So
it's a bloodbath, Co. It's just a bloodbath these days.
Yeah, all of us here know about this. So with any of these single changes, like for one-to-one offset, like in our simulation, 20 years is cut to 10 years. I could somehow, if let's say go with quite a lean margin, actually this would be quite a significant impact for most of the people. Yeah, so with a contract that we have already signed or we have already determined how to manage it and how to have some of a addendum in terms of contract, actually this is one of the challenge for most of the investors. If let's say they don't really have much margin to play around. Yeah.
That's a really astute point, Co. And in fact, I share your let's say, shock, let's call it, when that regulatory announcement was made. Look, looking at it just to share from a Singapore perspective, which has been known to have some best practices in the region, a lot of the new regulation was never grandfathered, i.e. if anything was launched, it was applicable to contracts from that point onwards.
Yep.
And in a situation where an investment has been made based on a regulatory situation, therefore the financial consideration, it basically implodes the financial return. And as you mentioned earlier, a lot of companies that are now driven by sustainability targets, SDG goals, RE100 commitments, the truth of the matter is, even if I had a commitment to go green, but my financial ROI was not up to par, how can I justify that? It's hard. And if I've now made a commitment and got my bosses to approve from their HQ this investment, done the tender, found the right person, got it constructed, enjoying my savings, and suddenly I don't get that benefit anymore, that's just not fair, isn't it? So I think that's a big issue in contracting issues. So let me ask your views. I mean, how do maybe we can just kick around some suggestions for the audience that how do we manage this, right? How do we mitigate this challenge? What are some ideas we can share? I'd love to hear from you on that.
Well, I would say we are still looking for the best idea right now, actually, because this is something that is really tricky. And one of the most straightforward way is if let's say it doesn't make sense on the financial modeling, definitely we need to rediscuss or let's say renegotiate with the off-taker, which is the building owners. Yeah, and somehow actually this will bring some of the inconvenience to both parties. Or the other one is if let's say the margin is there are some of margin there, it all depends on the deployment of the system, depends on the panel price and how we can manage it, by which quarter, when the panel price become lower, then we can apply that or deploy that. But this also has created a lot of this I would say inconvenience for most people. That's why somehow if let's say the regulatory this policy keep changing, somehow it will impact some of the investors who are quite keen to invest in some country. But even though we know this is something that I would say pretty sort of a little bit of norm in Southeast Asia, as a lot of things it could change from time to time. So the other one is how can we move forward? I think that's very important. Yeah, I would say first of all, probably in terms of our financial modeling, when we do some of setting and also assumption, it will be very important for us to have some of the safety buffer over there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's say based on what will be the worst case scenario, and this will be some buffer that we can offer, and based on the current situation, how it goes. Yeah, so probably we can play around with that. And actually to move forward, I would say is, to be very frank, is there's a lot of challenge for most of players in Malaysia, because as we all know, for NEN 2.0 is going to finish. Actually, I think it's almost finished. Yeah. And 3.0 is still not around in the corner because we are still waiting the ministry side to announce it. So at this moment, the only chances that we all can focus, it will be focused on the self-consumption, the policy, which is cell-core. And for cell-core, it will be very important for us on the engineering parts to really understand about, first of all, we have to look for the heavy industry who have a huge load, and probably they are running for 7 days, even though including like holidays and so on. So to safeguard on the investor side, because right now, if let's say the regulatory is not really fixed, actually a lot of contract, a lot of all these risks we'll have to consider in our contract, and we'll have to choose the right model, the right policy to lower down the risk from an investment point of view. So I would say these are some of the quite challenging things for most of the industry players at this moment, but it will be very important for all the different industry players, including the policymaker, to work hand in hand together to move forward. Yeah. So yeah, this is something that definitely we hope that we all have probably a session able to talk to the policymaker to really share our concern on the risk, especially on the contract risk side with them. I mean, to come out with a win-win situation for everyone.
Indeed, Ko. I mean, you said it really well, and I just want to pick up on a couple of those areas. First of all, the solidarity, right? Because, and we've done this, me, I'm a risk taker, I'm an entrepreneur, and I used to bid a bit aggressively with very less margin, and you used to tell me, Sam, put more safety buffer. And, what a regulation's in place, in my mind, hey, it's bankable, we can count on it. You wouldn't dream that something like that can be changed once contracts are done and projects are up, right? For example, imagine if on the LSS...
Sam, I'm so sorry to interrupt you, because we're kind of like running out of time in this session. So I'm wondering, like, is it possible for you to, speed it up, and also,
Okay, so how much time do we have? How much time do we have left?
I think there are 3 minutes left in this session.
Okay, cool.
So I'm really sorry to interrupt you guys.
That's okay. Thanks for the heads up. Let's wrap up on this point itself, because frankly, it's the biggest issue that's facing the Malaysian C&I market. So let's just jump in on that, on buffering on a financial model. Unless all of us do that, there'll always be someone who puts the price lower to get the deal. And this is the kind of game theory issue, right? And this is what you referred to, Ko, that we have to do it in solidarity. It has to be in conjunction for the better of the market. And, it may sound naive. It may, this is a business world. We all need to make profits and all that. But the truth is, we're in the solar business. And while we need to make a profit, there are other reasons we're all doing this. And, I think for these last 2 minutes, Ko, I'd like to just quickly pull up one last topic, which is, on everybody's minds, is what is the impact of COVID on what we're all doing? And one big one is the credit worthiness of the off-taker, the bankability of the industry. And Holdem, I'd like you to give us a couple of extra minutes, because this is an important topic. So just to get your views, Ko, what have you seen and what have we faced where the impact of COVID has made it harder to enter into a long-term PPA or service contract?
Yeah, I would say it has positive and negative. The positive way is actually because of COVID, we are able to make some judgment based on the pandemic and also the COVID situation to find out who are the COVID-proof industry, or let's say the COVID, the negative impact industry, which impact lesser. So it will be something very good for us to really able to select a good company from there. However, then the question would be, then what would be the next crisis it will happen, and it will happen on which industry? So this is a little bit uncertain. So what we can do is really based on the data and whatever we have in the past, and also really to do the credibility check based on that. I mean, right now, crisis sometimes is good. Yeah, then we all just can stick with whatever we have right now. Yeah, so I would say this business cooperation, the sustainability is very important. Yeah, because we are going to sign a contract for 15 years, 20 years. And right now, there are some companies actually they are thinking of go out from different country or move to different countries to shift their operation. And the United States, which they just changed their these leaders. What will be this impact without trade war? If let's say there's no without trade war, so I would say we'd like to put it in a quite positive way. Yeah, so based on the outlook that we see, and also based on the COVID situation, that we all need to identify which are the company or the business that we have to really do, or probably in terms of credit side, yeah, we all have to put some of the justification there to avoid the risk for the investor. Yeah.
Really well said. I just will do a quick summary of our talk and key topics, guys, before we hand it back to the organizers. I think all of you can clearly see that the regulatory impact on the contracting issues between private customers is a major issue. And in Malaysia's case, with the uncertainty of the net electricity metering framework, that's going to be a challenge. So I think this is a call to all of those regulators out there, from the industry, that we wish you can support us and continue this favorable framework, because with that, we can go and put more panels for more customers, in one of the most important countries in our region. So thank you all for listening. Holm and guys, thank you for giving us the opportunity. And of course, last but not least, my dear friend Cole, thank you for this. It was so fun. It was nice to chat and share. And hope to do this again soon.
Okay, thanks, Sam.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much, Ko. I very much appreciated your interesting and truly informative kind of discussion on the contracting issue in the Q&A sector, and the way truly believe as the regulation becoming more and more sound, more and more solar projects will be feasible in the CNA, solar sector in ASEAN region. And during your presentation, we have also received so many interesting questions in the Q&A box. Since we are already running out of time in this session, so I think both of you can answer this question in the Q&A box after your presentation. And thanks again for your presentation, and also your participation in the ASEAN Climate Week.
Thanks, guys. Signing off. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
And also in the next part, we will skip the scheduled short 10 minutes break and also just directly start our next session. So in addition to the renewable scenery in Indonesia and Malaysia, I'd like to bring you to the rising new solar star Myanmar at the same time. Firstly, I would like to especially introduce Dr. Wayne Min from Ministry of Electricity and Energy in Myanmar. Dr. Wayne Min, today, Dr. Wayman will shine light on the topic existing and future grid connected sector in the electric power generation in Myanmar. And Mr. Waymar has over 24 years of experience in the electric power sector, such as distribution and generation, negotiation of the agreements of revealing of feasibility and study reports. Hi, Dr. Wayman, please start your presentation. Hi, Dr. Wayne.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay.
So could you please start sharing your screen?
We can start sharing.
Yeah, you can start sharing.
Okay, please. No. Can you see my slide?
Yep, we can see your slides.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Host, for your kind introduction to me, and it's a very pleasure to present my information of our country to all delegates and all ladies and gentlemen. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now I start my presentation about our situation of the renewable energy sector in our electric power generation. So I am Dr. Wayne, the Chief Engineer of the Electric Power Generation Enterprise, Ministry of Electricity and Energy. My enterprise is responsible for the generation of electricity for the whole country, for all the power system connected electricity generation. Next slide. Next slide, please. Hello? Huh? Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Dr. Wayne. You can.
Hello, can you hear my slide?
Yeah, I can see your slides, and you can go on and switch to the next slide.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So this is our some figure of the country. The below is in this year about nearly 400 megawatts. The total household we supplying the electricity is about nearly 11 millions. So our electrification ratio is now this year is 56%. So now it's very sharply progressed in the previous 10 years. So now our electricity consumption per capita is about over 378 kilowatt hour. So we electrifying nearly 36,000 households in the village area. So this is our transition line system. Most of the hydropower plant are located at the northern state of our country, northern part of our country, and major load consumer area is the southern part of the country. So we transmit the electricity from northern part to southern part by using 230 kV transmission line. Now 500 kV transmission line is under construction period. So after finish 500 kV transmission line, we transmit the power more smoothly from the northern part of the country to southern part low center. So this is our electric power is. You can see here the blue color is electric power come from the thermal power plant. Small red color is power from diesel generator for the remote area, not for the space city area. For the remote area and small town, we supplying the power by using diesel generator. So most of the power is come from the hydropower plants. So you can see that most of the installed capacity is we generate from the hydropower. So the second largest power is come from the gas turbine. And so now coming year, previous year, this year and coming year, we will more power increase from the solar power plants. So this is the energy from the various power plants. So most of the power come from the hydropower, but coming year we also increase from solar. This graph shows the installed capacity and generation and consumption, power consumption. So blue color is mentioned installed capacity for the total power plant, and red color is the total generation from the power plant, and green color is consumption, low consumption for the whole country. This is our generation made load gas for this year September. So you can see the thermal power owned by state enterprise and MPP power from MPP thermal as we use as the base load. This year we introduce a new type of the thermal by using liquefied natural gas LNG. So you can also the portion of the power from LNG. Also we use hydropower and solar as a full mount to supply our people. Mainly power is also come from the hydropower. So you can see there's some hour we have reserve power, but some hour we have no reserve power. This is the yearly increase of our load. You can see here. You can see here 2010 our payload is only lower than 1,500 megawatt. But now 2019 and 2020 our load became about over 3,800 megawatts. So our load increase between 1 decade is too much. We have many effort to supply this gap, to fulfill this gap. So this is our consumption, low consumption. So most of the power go to the general purpose. General purpose means we use most of the energy for the household uses. And the industrial power usage is not so much like household uses. This means we need to supply more power for the industrial purpose to be our modernized country. This is a generation mix for the last year, 2019 and 20. According to this pie chart, you can see that half of the power come from the thermal, and nearly half of the power come from the hydropower. This is a blue color and light green color. So the coal-fired power plant is only installed capacity is only 120 megawatt. So left pie chart is a generation mixed by installed capacity. Right pie chart is a generation mixed by energy. So for the next year, we have the many solar power plants, about 29 solar power plants. To the installed capacity is 1,030 megawatts. So in next year, 2020 and 21, our solar power portion is began 30 or 14% in installed capacity. So this is for the future. For 2025, our generation mix began like this. So left pie chart is the conditional state. It means we get some, if we get some support from the other finance institution like ADB and Orphan or something like this, we can increase our renewable energy ratio as 16%. If we can use only our own finance for unconditional condition, we cannot increase our renewable energy like the solar and wind portion. We can only increase 30%, about 1,440 megawatts. This is our plan for the next 2020 and 25. So this graph shows our hourly load pattern of our country for the power system, grid connected system, only grid connected system. In our country, off-grid system electrification is responsible for the other ministry. We are main responsible for the grid connected power system. So this graph shows the comparison between the 2020. You can see that in 2020, the peak load demand in November 18 is about 3,892 megawatt. So minimum day of this year, January 26 is only 2,822 megawatts. So it's very different. So the difference between minimum and maximum is about 2,480 megawatts. So this is a big challenge for our power system to be stable. So for the 1 day difference is about, for the whole year, peak load difference is about 1,070 megawatts. For the whole year, maximum and minimum difference is about 2,480 megawatts. So this is a big challenge for system stability. Up to now, our renewable energy portion is only small portion. Next year, after finish 1,030 megawatt solar power plant, we have more challenge for this system stability purpose. So this is a national grid map for the new solar power plant in 2011. You can see that our solar power plant is all over the country. So it means the distributed generation size, we supply the solar power all over the country by using 33 kV and 63 kV transmission line to the local 33 substation and 66 kV substation sites. This means our generation fluctuation from solar is we can flatten the fluctuation intermittent by using the distributed generation system all over the country, instead of one big solar power plant implementing. So this is the more clear figure for the new solar power plant. So you can see upper part of the country to lower part of the country, southern part, northern part, middle part, and the whole country, we distribute the solar power plant, 23 solar power plant. Existing one is in the main pool, so total solar power plant is 30 solar power plants in coming year. So after finish this solar power plant, we can get the power from the 30 solar power plant. This is our imagination. The red color is the demand side. Red color is the demand side line. According to the energy from the solar, we have adjust our generation from the gas turbine, thermal power plant, and hydropower plants to adjust the intermittent and system stability. Also, we have to fulfill the requirement for the spinning result due to variable generation of the solar power plant. This is a big issue for our power system. We need to modify and we need to adjust and we need to cooperate all participants to be stable. So this is a location of our hydropower dam. We can implement the floating solar by using this big area, surface area of our hydropower plant. So this is the also big opportunity for the developer to implement the renewable energy project in our country. So for wind power possibility, the feasibility study are now implemented by assistance of the Asian Development Bank. They are now trying to draw the wind density map wind zone for the wind power feasibility of our country. So Chiang, Magui, and Cayenne State are some feasible region to implement wind power. So this is some figure to implement wind zone. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you listening for my presentation. It's very pleasure to make the presentation.
Thank you so much. Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Wayne Ment. Very much appreciate your detailed speech on the renewable grid connection in Myanmar. And again, I would like to express our gratitude for your participation on behalf of the organizing committee. And besides your speech, we've received so many like really interesting questions from our audience. But since we are running out of time in this session, so I'm sorry to skip this part. And I think you can answer this question after your presentation, and you can find all the questions in the Q&A box. Thanks again for your participation.
Okay, thank you. I will try to answer the question in the chat box. Thank you.
All right.
Again.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Mr. Wayne.
Thank you.
Now, without further ado, let's get into the final session of the Myanmar journey. In this ending session, we're so glad to have Mr. Joseph and Mr. Kapau and Mr. Accurate in a panel discussion. Myanmar 1 gigawatt tender update in the large-scale solar. And Joseph is a partner of Tuco and Gibbons, and he will be the moderator of this panel discussion. Hi, Joseph. Please take control of this panel discussion.
Thanks, Holman. I appreciate it. And that was an excellent session from Dr. Nguyen. I believe I don't have to show some of my slides because his were much better. So Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the ASEAN Clean Energy Week, and thanks for having us today for this session. First of all, I want to say, again, my name is Joe Tomkowitz. I'm a partner at Telecky & Gibbons, Thailand's oldest law firm, and we are celebrating our 130th year anniversary of being in business. We also have offices in Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam, and I am the head of our energy practice. I want to thank the Leader and Associates team, including Holman, Oscar, and Zoe, and Wendy for making this such an excellent presentation over the last couple of days. And today, we will be presenting on the topic of Myanmar's 1 gigawatt tender updates and large-scale solar. I would like to introduce Kapil Seth, the founder and chief executive officer at Mandalay Yoma, and also Kun Ekarat Paramawanich, the sales director at Jinko Solar. I was going to show a slide that was proving the case for the increase in solar from 2010 to 2020, and then the rapidly increasing demand, but I think we already saw slides to that effect. And so I thank Dr. Nguyen once again for such an excellent slide presentation. From my point of view, the Ministry of Electricity and Energy generates some of the best material, and I hope that they post it so I can use it in my later presentations, and today was no exception. So with that, maybe I could turn and ask our speakers to give a little bit of background on themselves. And I'll start with Kun Ekarat. I know we've seen the Jinko name many times over the last couple of days through our earlier speakers. I know Dr. Chen and Davis Chang, and then the Indonesia sessions this morning, and even Mr. Goyal from Singapore had references to Jinko. So perhaps we'll start with Kun Ekarat. And I'm not sure if I should be handing the display access to you, Kun Ekarat, or if you can pull up your own deck. It looks like you're able to do that. Could you share your screen with us to show your slides? We're going to need to hear from your microphone as well, Kun Ekarat. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
okay,
we can hear you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you, Joseph, and nice to meet you, Seth. Yeah. I would say this is quite my first time to have the virtual conference like this. A little bit excited. Yeah. So if anything mistake, okay, please apologize. Yeah. So let me introduce myself a little bit. I am Ekarat. Everyone can call me EK. Yeah. Right now I take care for the sales director of the Thailand, Myanmar, and Laos market. And this is a very great honor of us to join your conference today and to share our opinion about from outside the PV module manufacturer, yeah, from Jinko Solar, yeah, and especially for the good time for the Myanmar market solar power development right now for the 1 gigawatt EPGE, yeah, project currently. So should I start my presentation a little bit? Okay, thank you.
Are you able to grab the screen, Kun Ekarat?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see my slide clearly.
Yes.
Okay, so just to introduce about Jinko Solar a little bit, maybe I will spend just only 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Yeah. Jinko Solar, we are the PV module manufacturer, and we start the business since 2006. So right now it's about 14 years ago already, and we start from the upstream business from ingot wafer, and then continue to sales and module. So that we are the all the in-house manufacturing process, and also to control the whole quality by ourselves, and also at the same time to uh, use the advantage of the technology to introduce the good cost and good benefit product to customer. Yes. So currently we are the take care for the whole market globally. We can separate the market like a three area. Okay, we focus in the Asia like a China, Australia, Vietnam, Southeast Asia, including Myanmar, Thai, Cambodia, and also the America market. USA is quite big market as well. We have the factory over there, yeah, to support the USA market especially, yeah, and also the Europe market that is the original market that we focus in the 2008 to 2010. Yes, so currently we are the quite cover the market globally, yeah, and the delivered PV module totally is about 60 gigawatt, yeah. The market share right now globally is about 12.6%. So this year we expect to deliver the PV module for 20 gigawatt totally. Yes. Okay. I will go to the next slide. We have the R&D team to develop the PV module from the laboratory start, and our PV module, if you see in the market, the module right now is quite quite very quick. Yeah. At the first join with like a Jinko Solar, I joined in the 7 years ago. At that time, the PV module is like a poly 300 watt module, but right now, really very moved to 460, and next year will be 500 watt already. So the technology is quite move very quick. Yes, in order to meet the customer expectation and also the LCOE and IRR of the project. Yes, and the product advantage that we also provide in the market will be the technology like an N-type module. Yeah, I will not go to the deep detail. Later, if anyone interested, we can discuss later. Okay, and this is just to show the whole product portfolio of Jinko Solar. Yes, can say in the website. The website is slightly start from early of this year. It's about a cheetah module. It's about 400. Yes, and continue to develop. We also have the Swan module, which is the bifacial module matched to the solar ground mount project, and also the tracking solar system. And currently, we also have the Tiger product series, that is Tiger and Tiger Pro. Power class is 425, and also next year we'll have the 585 watt. This is a max power class module as well. For the Tiger module, we also have both monofacial module and bifacial module. All right. And if you see the track record, it's Jinko Solar, because we start from the upstream and in-house of the wafer and ingot. So we continue start the business continuously, and we also aim to leverage the product technology and also the financing status by ourselves as well, because we need to support the product. We need to support the customer in a long term. Follow the product and the project. So if you see the ranking of the Jinko Solar, we maintain the sustainable of the company, and right now we continue to have the number one in the market 4 years. So all this is our. I will not speak everything in this because it's quite too much, but just only focus for 2 points above. We have the laboratory is called the NVGL. Yes, this likely the lab to test the performance of the module, and we have the top performer award for continue 5 years. Yes, and the second thing, second option is the PV Tech. Yeah, we got the bankability ranking globally as well. So it means that in case that the customer would like to do the project financing, we can support the documentation about the product and the quality in order to get good financing support from the bank as well. And this is just to show the project reference. Yes. The key highlight is the Abu Dhabi project that we developed together with the investor in the Abu Dhabi. This is the first phase that we completely COD in the last 2 years, totally 1.177 gigawatt. Yeah. And we also continue to have the second phase of power development in Abu Dhabi. It's a 1.7 gigawatt as well. And the other project in like Australia is Calmau project. Yes. In America, in Japan, South Africa, and in UK. Yeah. We have for the project in Southeast Asia as well, but we can provide you later if you need some more information. So all this is the overview for the Jinko Solar. If you have any question, can let us know anytime. Yes. Thank you, Joseph, for this introduction.
Well, that was excellent. I mean, building your trust in solar, certainly we understand that motto. That Abu Dhabi project is huge. That's really a successful project. So congratulations on that. Maybe if you could stop sharing your screen right now, then Kapil could grab it. I'd like to introduce Kapil Seth and ask him to say a few words about himself and his company, if he could.
Thanks a lot. Pleasure to be in touch again.
Nice to meet you.
And of course, you met and one of yours in Myanmar. Okay, so pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot, everyone, for taking out time today. As Joseph briefly mentioned, I'm leading the work for Mandalay Yoma in Myanmar, and we are a company based out of Singapore, and we've invested in Myanmar across various sort of projects and in a few sectors in the country. We've been here for years. I've personally been in Myanmar for about 8 years now. So we work across mini grids, we work across telecom, we work on commercial rooftops, and also work a lot more on EPC for basically utility scale power plants. So if you look here, we have a few entities we work on. We have Mandalay Energy, which is basically a joint venture with NG. As you know, NG is one of the leading companies worldwide on working and of course, we understand how the local environment is. I think I've skipped actually a lot of slides which we had on Myanmar. You had a previous session which was amazing. And so I think Myanmar is ripe for solar. I think I'll just leave it for that. And there's a lot of development coming in the next few years. Just about us, we've been the longest time here. We're the #1 in developing projects. We originate projects, we construct them. We have a full design team based here as well. And we've been scaling up projects in different parts of the country. We work across different regions. Our northernmost plants are actually at the borders where Myanmar reaches China. Our southernmost plants are on islands. And again, plants across the country from Mandalay, Magwe, Sagaing, Rakhine, Shan, Ayeyarwady, and going down to Ayeyarwady, Tanintharyi as well. We've been scaling up our business with strong project pipelines, EPC organizations, and we've actually have the full set of processes. We work from basically identification of the sites across from environmental social assessments, going all the way down to construction, operations, and monitoring of systems. You see, I think I just briefly touched on what we've been doing across the country. We do a ton of work in rural Myanmar, and I think this is pretty interesting from the point of view of how we work on land, and which is very similar to utility scale projects. Acquiring land right away, working with the communities, and then actually constructing and operating power plants. And this is something we do very well, and we've been doing for a while. You can see some of the solar plants. We have at this point, I think over 30 running plants, and we are now working towards the next batch of projects. And these plants exist in the remotest regions of the country. We also do a ton of construction, and with our partners managing complex construction across the 4 different sectors we briefly touched, and hope to be working in Myanmar for a long, long time to come. So happy to work with new partners coming in, seeing the sector evolve, and thank you so much for your time.
Well, Kapil, that's a great presentation, and I feel comfortable saying that between Kun Ekarat and Kapil here, if you want to get the equipment or have it installed or work with it, you have the 2 gentlemen that can help you get it done. It's really amazing what you 2 have done, and I would like to get some specific insight in our remaining time on this bid round. I mean, to me, Myanmar did a fantastic job of executing on a tender in possibly one of the most difficult business environments we've ever faced, which means the COVID time period. So Kapil, why don't I start with you? This was a bid round that effectively initiated in May of this year, May of 2020. Could you talk to us about this? Were you guys ready to jump in? Was the community ready for this? And could you describe a little bit how it happened over the summer and where we moved to, and then we can talk to Ekarat about his participation as well.
And thanks a lot, Joseph, for the question. So overall, I think I'm sure many people have been unaware of this round as well, that it came in, but I guess it's one of the best moves, I think, for the country. Again, jumping in from having just 5 gigawatts of overall power and adding another gigawatt of solar there. But there have been discussions. So I think if people have been in touch with the government, with the ministries, I think the conversations had been ongoing for, I guess, over, I would say, 12 to 18 months on what could be the potential substations, what kind of floating solar, how to have solar, what kind of contracts to do. So I think if you were outside, you would definitely say that this seemed a little abrupt and sudden. But I guess if you were in the country, it does seem that I think you would be expecting it sometime or sooner or a bit later. Of course, the timing chosen during COVID was also a move. I think there are many ways to look at it. I think from the point of view of not doing anything versus doing something in the country and having things in place by 2021, I think the government's done a fabulous job of moving these projects to get forward. And I think you had some discussions earlier which showed that actually these projects are moving forward. There will be solar projects on ground in the country, and which is, I think, amazing. Also, one last thing, I think of course the government had about a month's timeline. They got some requests to, of course, extend it, and this got extended by another month or so. So, which makes it, it doesn't make it the easiest, I would say, a month to 2 months to prepare, but you definitely needed roots in the country, you needed partners, and how the governments also run it, well, you heard it previously, was more in a very decentralized. And I think this could spur a lot of growth in different parts of the country. So I guess that's another thing versus having one project which could be 300, 400 megawatts pumping in one region. I'll stop at that. I'm not sure if that answers, Joseph.
Yeah, I think that was great. And I think it's in line with Dr. Nguyen as he was describing the nature of sort of the fragmented setup versus a large project. So Kun Ekarat, do you have any comments on what Keppel said, or maybe even on Dr. Nguyen's description from the previous presentation, or your own thoughts that you'd like to share on that, the process and how it went and your view of the process?
Yeah, okay. You can hear me, right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think okay, because I have been in Myanmar like 2 or 3 years already, and also to get in touch with them, yeah, for the okay to support it and to develop the project. We got to know about the Myanmar country is really try to develop the solar power development, especially for the solar ground mount and also the solar rooftop. Yeah, and from my opinion, I think this is quite good move for this year for the Myanmar that they have uh, the, the 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 power development of the 1 gigawatt tender. Yes, and to uh, to develop, yeah, and to have the project happen. Yes, and also to develop the electricity, yeah, and also in the country, as we can see from Dr. Win in the last session previously. Yeah, so this is quite good move, yeah, from my opinion.
Well, great. That's a great answer. And it seems like we're aligned with Dr. Nguyen, the four of us here. I guess, Kapil, I would maybe make a comment on the, or ask you to make a comment on how did the pricing component of the bid round happen? Was it in line with your thinking on price, or did you think it was lower than market, or were you satisfied with that, or do you want to comment on that, or is that not something?
Sure. I mean, I don't know how much depth I can comment, but we have experts here, I think, who could do a lot more. But I guess when you look at the pricing, I think there was pricing, of course, on projects in Cambodia, which could be taken for reference. They've been pricing around the regional. I guess for me, interested have been referencing pricing from the previous projects that were there, plus, of course, looking at the new market, which has opened in the last. So this was definitely in the range of what we would expect in solar projects, but I think the big question has been the risk, the country risk. And I guess people who've been involved in these projects are looking at the country pretty optimistically and looking at projects being constructed, and then the government putting their force behind these projects as well to make them work. I think this is definitely the case in in the pricing that we see today. It's not the case where because if you look at the uncertainty in this model, the uncertainty comes from basically the land acquisition. And if you look at the north and the south of the country, there's a difference in, of course, the kind of solar radiation, and you see that reflected in the price, number one. When you look at, again, in the north of the country, there have been few states which offered land almost from the state. And I think those bids came out to be even lower than the usual ones. So when you reflect the price, I think it seems pretty fair in that kind of comparison, moving from the solar radiation, the kind of production they could have, and then moving in from the cost of land acquisition, etc.
That's great. Well, and I'm just going to say what I've read online and through some sources that were published. It was $42 per megawatt hour was slightly lower than expectation. I just say this here. I'm not asking Kun Ekarat or you to comment, but that's what I was looking at. But I mean, all in all, it seems like a very successful process. 30 days extended to 60. We had bid openings in September and November. Kun Ekarat or Keppel, either one of you, any comments on how that ended up? Are you aware of acceptance being signed? I think we talked about this earlier. It seems some successful execution of documents already, which is amazing to me as a process that it held up so well. Kun Ekarat?
Okay, yeah. So based on Joseph's question for the tendering process, yes, I think it's quite challenging for the industry, yeah, because we understand that we understand that the country that would like to move for the solar power project, but because of this year also impact with the COVID-19 and also the pandemic. So this is quite challenging for the project tendering process as well. Yes, but luckily that the tendering process they have extend for 1 month. Yes, and we understand that the bidder and also the investor they try to organize every document support from every part, like a land acquisition, some permit, and also the equipment support from field module, inverter, transformer, everything. So from the equipment side also try to support the thing in the bidding also as well. Finally, we can understand that most of the key potential bidder, they also can have the successfully bid submission by the July. Yes, and then we got to know that about the September, they have some evaluation about the technical and also the commercial. Yes, and then got the award of the bidder. So it means that this thing is quite amazing in the market that the bidder they can do the things and the whole industry they can support to support the market.
Well, that's a great
Oh,
answer, Kunekrat.
yes.
I mean, I agree with you. I think Kapil raised earlier I think the market concern in May about the speed with which you'd have to acquire land or move on your land acquisitions. So very impressive that that's occurring and has occurred. We do have one online question from Alim Tan, and it's a blockchain related question, I think a little bit. It says the solar leasing and EPC can be used blockchain technology and smart contract tokenization to track and automate the contract bill settlement. What do you think? I mean, I think a couple, maybe from your side on the EPC side and then the downstream side, you may have some awareness to this. We could try and answer that here, or we could pass it to the chat rooms later. Any ideas on that one, Kapil, or would you rather go back to the earlier question on the process?
No, I think just a quick one on this, and of course we should look at it later. I think blockchains, of course, I see that the solar leasing model, PP models, I think blockchain's been kind of picking up. I think quite a few companies in the region we've talked to, I think some Australian ones, etc., who've been kind of using this and kind of promoting this. Have to see how fast, how scalable, and how the process could become far easier and becomes more mainstream. I think blockchain overall has been growing over the years. So from there, moving on to renewable energy, again, that's to be checked. And I think we are more, when we are in the sectors in Myanmar, I think we're still looking at big chunks, or looking at more of the detailing. So I think that would be critical to see in years to come and maybe months to come of how fast it can grow.
Well, great. Why don't we do this then? We've got about 6 minutes left. How about if you take a shot at the issue I posed to you before, a couple, which was the resolution and the conclusion of how this process moved, and then maybe the Yoma Mandalay or the Mandalay Yoma role in that going forward, and then maybe give a short closing statement, and then I can pass it to Ekarat to close, and then we can conclude the session. I do notice one more question has come in. If we have time left at the end, we'll ask that. Otherwise, we'll try to answer that online. But Kapil, back to you for a two-parter, quick response to the end of the round, and then your closing statement. Okay,
thanks a lot, Joseph. Okay, so overall, this entire process, and what I'll do is I'll try to mesh Kiran, your question into this as well, into this answer. So overall, when we look at the process, of course, it seems fast. I think a lot of people had to prepare things in quite a bit of a rush and find partners who could do this, who could work with them in this period in COVID in Myanmar. So I'll tell you, we've been here for a while. We work on remote region, do EPC, and we also invest in these projects, right? We've been investing into remote projects in the country for years now. And we understand that there could be certain costs and things which could be unknowns, but there are of course estimates that people have taken in for let's say land cost, right of way, etc., while EPC costs are pretty much standardized. And I think Myanmar is also in a way pretty open with the kind of tariff structures, import structures are not really are actually very pro, I would say, renewable electricity when you look at solar panels, inverters, and renewable energy related equipment. So I think for most companies, I think this is definitely one of the ways they can actually do projects in a much better way. Secondly, again, when people establish their local entities here under Myanmar Investment Commission, you look at import tax breaks. There are commercial tax, corporate income tax breaks in the country, which of course help companies get better returns. So overall, when you look at the structure of these projects and the structure of how Myanmar is promoting with the help from the government, I see that these investments could definitely be, I mean, the country's pretty pro renewable electricity and pro energy in a way at this point. So I think the country is poised for growth, and Mandalay Yoma remains interested and committed to actually growing the sectors we are involved in. We're involved in energy access. There are still about, the country still has only 10, out of 10 million households, 5 million households with electricity access. I think we remain committed to reaching those households. We remain committed to shift for companies from fossil fuel based to renewable electricity. And this is how we work on commercial industrial solar. We work with multinational clients, from large government companies to large beverage companies, on really making them help make the shift to solar. We also work on EPC, on ground mounted, roof mounted solar, managing the end-to-end cycle from basically even setting up things in the country, having feet on the ground and making things move in the years to come. So hoping that the sector can continues to grow. I think Myanmar, of course, is poised for growth. By 2030, the country has strong goals of reaching 100% electrification, and only when, you know, electrification is the base on which they can build industries and also build other sectors. So I guess we remain committed to reaching these goals. Thanks.
Well, that's a great statement, and I'm equally optimistic as you are, and I think Myanmar has done a fantastic job, and I really do think if you look at net zero emission goals, I think they're going to get in ahead of those. I think the 2030 goals are within sight, so this is going to move things a long way in that direction. So Kun Ekarat, thank you, Keppel. Kun Ekarat, we'll move to you and we'll try and meet our deadline here. If you'd like to answer the question that came in, that's fine,
Okay,
but
sure.
we could just leave you with a concluding or closing statement if you have one.
Okay. If just like to conclude, okay. I just want to share the opinion from the supply chain side a little bit, because this year is quite fluctuate about we have the COVID-19 pandemic, and we also right now I think most of the key players in the market they quite know about the logistic fluctuation as well. Yeah, so everything is impact from the pandemic this moment about the COVID-19. Yeah. Luckily that okay from the Asia side, I think right now the Asia side is it still have some region pandemic, but not so very strong big impact. From the locally supply chain, you still have the supply chain like okay the equipment and everything side is still can supply, but just only the fluctuation in the market. Yeah, so just our side that we can support is about we from the single we can because the capacity and about the size of the production. Yes, we are able to support the project and also the customer, and is open to discuss about the things on this, and also the information about the market we also can share to the market, and also can share about the thing of the fluctuation, so that we can prepare very well about the project and the calculation about the IRR and also the LCOE, and in order to sorry, in order to finish and to figure out the things in the project. Yes. So can handle the project really smooth and too low risk of the project. Yeah, finally, something like that. So it's my last thing that okay, it is good for us to see the big move of the Myanmar market about this power solar project development. Yes. So okay, thank you.
Great, Kunekrat. Thank you very much for those comments. Supply chain logistics, we're all waiting to see when we can get back to normal, but you guys are doing a fantastic job in this environment. And I guess when you're the biggest guy around, you can move stuff easier than some. But Kapil, thanks for your final comments. Yoma's there to do just about anything for you in Myanmar. But I do appreciate your mentioning the incentives that are available to our person who asked the question online. And so with that, and I see Dr. Win Mint is still online. It's a pleasure having had him listen to this event. And for those of you who are listening, we thank you for dialing in today. We thank Leader Associates for their excellent conference management again online. I think this is the new normal, so it's great to be affiliated with Leader. And with that, on behalf of this panel and on behalf of Telekia and Gibbons, law firm.
Thanks for your really good preparation and to moderate such a well-structured panel. And Kapil and Akari, many thanks for your really amazing discussion and panel of focusing on Myanmar 1 gigawatt handler and large-scale solar. And I think all of our audience have already gotten a lot of, enough insights into the large-scale solar development in this country. And thanks again for your participation in this a really amazing panel discussion. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Joseph and Holland. Thanks for organizing. Pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
So right now, this is pretty much out about the November 26th agenda of ASEAN Clean Energy Week. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to sincerely post my appreciation on all our distinguished speakers from the morning session to the afternoon. It is truly your valuable content and presentation that make it possible for us to bring comprehensive knowledge to our audience who are focusing on the booming renewable energy in Southeast Asia. We Leader Associates is willing to see all of our friends on site at our physical event in Philippines next year. And please remember to come by to this live studio at 9 a.m. tomorrow, where more exclusive insights will be shared from the perspective of the other South Asia countries. And thank you so much for your participation at this special festival of Thanksgiving Day. And bye-bye. See you tomorrow.